Hey guys, and welcome to my 1 to 99 flipping guide. I mean my 1 to 2.147 mil flipping guide. What this is going to be is just a quick snapshot of the different stages of flipping, all the way from 0 GP all the way to your max cash stack. Now I'm not going to go super in depth into specific items you should do, but more just categories and when you should start flipping those categories. Like for say when you have 5 mil, what types of items you should be flipping then, and then when you have 100 mil, etc. So hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. So before I get started, I would just like to state that of course this is just my opinion. Unlike training a skill where there is a pretty set path that is the most efficient way to do it, flipping will not have that path. So while this is my opinion, this is the way I would do it and I think it's best, it's not necessarily going to work for everyone or be necessarily even the best way to do it. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get started. So to start off, you're not going to have a lot of money. What I would recommend from, clearly you don't want to really start at 1 GP unless you're doing it for fun, of course, and I would recommend it, it is fun. But once you have, I would say maybe 100k, you could start flipping some really cheap clue scroll items. So easy, medium, and hard clue scrolls have items that you can snipe for cheap. So these will be items like elegant skirts, armadillo cloaks. I just flipped a crier bell the other day, just like random stuff like that. It's not going to trade very often, it's going to take a while, but honestly your time's better spent putting in these offers, attempting to snipe something for a cheap price, and getting a really good margin on it. Because with 100k you're not going to be able to get much by flipping, like, say you're flipping flax or something. Who the fuck would flip flax? How about, say, death runes? You'd be able to buy like, what, 300 death runes, you might make 2 or 3k profit. You're worthless and no point. Anyway, so I'd recommend easy, medium, and hard clue scrolls until you're at about 1 mil. From there, I would still heavily recommend just sticking to, well, it doesn't have to be clue scroll items, but I find they do tend to have the biggest margin for the price. So elites and masters will have some really good items in it. So items like the darkness set, ornament kits, stuff like that, that you can still get for a reasonably cheap price and sell for a good margin. Even though 1 mil does seem like a lot of cash, it's still not really enough to do high volume flips like flipping seeds, potions, stuff like that. You're going to need a bit more cash to begin with, so I'd recommend just moving up to the elite and master clue scroll items, because they do tend to work out pretty well for me. So another recommendation for this amount of cash would be potion decanting. Now I will leave a link in the video description for how to do this, but basically you're just going to be taking 3 dose potions and decanting them into 4 dose potions. I would recommend doing this with super attacks, strengths, defense. Super energies work pretty well, but I wouldn't really do prayer potions, they're a bit too expensive. But anyway, really good profits to be made from decanting potions. And if you did want to do a high volume flip, doing some cheap ones like runes, ammunitions, like rune arrows, or adamant arrows, or maybe cheap darts would work pretty well as cheap food like lobsters. You're going to be able to do some flips, but I personally don't find these to work very well because you're not really getting a very good return on these since they trade so much. You're only going to get 10, 20k, maybe more, 30, 50, 40 sometimes, but not really worth your time, but it can be fun. So now we're on to the 5 mil to 25 mil category. Now what I'm recommending here is what I'm calling mid high volume items. So items like seeds, darts, planks will all work really well. Items like between 2 and 10k that have a high trading limit, or items like seeds that have a low trading limit of 200, and they are more expensive, but it kind of is limited by that, so they tend to have a really good margin regardless. So next up, once you've gotten past the 25 mil mark, that opens up a couple extra categories I would recommend. So items like third age, or cheap third age items, like say the third age robe, amulet, or range legs, can work pretty well, and you can get some really good margins on these items. They're a bit slow, but I've gotten 500 or 600k pretty consistently on a couple of these items. On top of that, I would start doing some expensive high volume items. Now these are really good. So items like magic logs, BATTLESTAFFS, and dragon bones will all work really well. And the reason I really like these expensive high volume flips is you can really right away see an excellent profit. So say like the BATTLESTAFFS, you could do a 5-minute flip that could net you 300k I mean, it's expensive. It could be 60, 70 mil to actually buy all those battle staffs, but definitely worth it. So once you get to the 100 mil to 500 mil mark, you could think of doing some investments. Now, most people do this by paying attention to updates. This is a really good one. I find updates are a lot more consistent to actually get a profitable flip or investment in, where the streams can be very unpredictable. A lot of the times items will get hyped up for nothing and then crash right down again, so it's a lot easier to get burned for that, but still doable. You can also just pay attention to general pricing trends, which can work as well. The reason I wouldn't really recommend this before 100 mil is because you don't really want to invest all your money into one item, because that's kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. And before 100 mil, you don't really have enough money to make a substantial investment into an item, as well as have money left over to flip with. On top of that, once you get to around the 100 mil cash stack, I would recommend doing some cheaper raid items. So items like the Den Bulwark, Twisted Buckler, you could do Dragon Sword, Dragon Harpoon. I mean, you could do some more expensive items like the Kodai Wand, but again, you don't really want to invest all your money into one item for the earlier stated reasons. But yeah, Den's Bulwark, Twisted Buckler, some of the cheaper raid items under 30-40 mil could do pretty nicely. Alright, and now between 500 mil and max cash, you guys probably wouldn't need any recommendations at this point, but you can use some of the more expensive raid items like the Twisted Bow if you're feeling brave, or some of the Ancestral equipment. Of course, you could do the Third Age Longsword if you wanted, but realistically, you're going to just keep to doing some of the already mentioned items or already mentioned categories, because these Twisted Bows, Third Age Longswords, they're risky and not everyone wants to do that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my 1-2 max cash stack. I keep wanting to say 1 to 99. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it wasn't super in depth on the specific items, but I hope you guys enjoyed the overview and maybe gave you some motivation to get flipping again, get your money higher, and eventually you can actually, well, anyone can hit max cash stack. I don't really think, if you just keep at it, the amount of skill in flipping is there, but a lot of it's just persistence and consistently just putting in items to flip. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.